Hello there. This is a EDH deck tech for my Animar Soul of the Elements deck. This is Animar. He is a 1/1 for blue, red, green, and he has protection from white and black. And whenever I cast a creature spell, I get to put a +1/+1 counter on him. And my creature spells cost one colorless less for each +1/+1 counter on him. He's pretty awesome. He is really useful against tricolor commanders or dual color commanders that contain white or black because I can block them for free or just walk right past them and deal commander damage to my opponent's faces. For lands, I run 34 lands. I run 8 of these basic forests. I run 4 of these islands. And I run 2 of these mountains. Nice and foil. For my non-basics, I have a Wooded Foothills, a Windswept Heath, a Flooded Strand. I really need to get a Misty Rainforest. That's going to be the next addition to this deck. Cinderglade, Breeding Pool, Stomping Ground, and Steam Bins. Those are my fetchable duels. I have the Hinterland Harbor and Root Brown Crag. I don't run Sulphur Falls because I don't feel I need red, because I only have one mono red creature. Otherwise, I can get my red from somewhere else. I run Vivid Grove just because it helps early game. You know, if I'm not really doing too much on turn 1, I can lay it and then I'll have my colors for sure. Command Tower, you run it unless you're a monocolored deck. Reflecting Pool, really useful. Homeward Path is so helpful. If people are stealing your stuff, you can just get it back. Strip Mine for Maze of Ith or any other pesky annoying lands. Firelit Thicket, just for some fixing. Flooded Grove, same thing. I don't run Cascade Bluffs for the same reason. Evolving Wilds and Terramorphic Expanse. Frontier Bivouac and Nykthos. Alright. I am an Animar deck, so these are my creatures. I only run 45 creatures, which is a little low for Animar, but you'll see why when I get to the non-creature cards. So for ramp creatures, I run Birds of Paradise, Sakura Tribe Elder, Bloom Tender, Somberwald Sage, Farhaven Elf, Nissa, Vastwood Seer, Rishkar. Rishkar is really useful because he can put an extra +1/+1 counter on Animar, and it allows me to tap Animar for mana in the early game if I need that ramp. Burnished Heart gets me lands, Wood Elves. You should honestly just run Wood Elves if you have greens. It's just so useful, especially with the shock lands. Solemn. All right, this is my. Now we're into the removal creatures. So, Reclamation Sage destroys an artifact or enchantment. Acidic Slime. Same thing, except it also can get a land, and I've got the nice foily promo. Bane of Progress destroys all artifacts and enchantments. So some decks, it just shuts them down. Like if you're playing against mono blue artifacts, it can just win you the game. Duplicate, exile something. In Animar, it can be free a lot of the time, so that's really strong. Phyrexian Ingester, same thing, except it costs 1 blue at most, or at least, sorry. And you just really need removal in this deck, because I don't run a lot of it. Ulamog, Ceaseless Hunger, can be free, which is a huge upside, and exiles just target permanent, which is super powerful. This is Genesis, nice promo Genesis for a little recursion for late game, just in case I'm running out of gas. I run Anger if he's in my graveyard and I have a mountain. Then all my dudes have haste, which is super powerful just as an effect to just have. Brawn, same thing except trample. And Wonder, same thing except flying. Now, this is the combo creature. This is a 15-cent common from Dragons of Tarkir, and it's only super powerful in this deck, but oh man, is it overpowered in this deck. Because all you need is 4 counters on Animar, and you play him for free, return him to your hand, play him again, return him to your hand, play him again, and you get to put infinite counters on Ancestral Statue, or on Animar. Fauna Shaman, a little Tutor, Sphinx of Athune, Factor Fiction on a 5/6 flyer. It's really good, especially when you pay blue for it. Very powerful. Venser. Venser is really good. It gets around Darksteel Forge, and if someone tries to Cyclonic Rift, you can put it back in their hand and kind of buy yourself a turn. Super useful. Avenger of Zendikar, part of the Tooth and Nail combo. I will usually Tooth and Nail for this guy and Craterhoof, just to get all my dudes huge and smash for damage. Glenalendra, the only counter in the entire deck. I run her because, you know, sometimes you need a counter. I actually haven't really cast her that much. Eternal Witness, a little Graveyard Recursion, super useful. Consecrated Sphinx, very powerful. If unanswered, you're more than likely going to win that game. Just lets you draw cards until you have exactly what you need. Palinchron. Palinchron alone with Animar, if I have 5 counters on him, will generate me infinite mana. But I need the 4 blue and 7 lands. Forgotten Ancient. He gets pretty big pretty fast and lets me put counters on Animar in the late game just in case he dies and I have to replay him or something. Mole Drifter. Super nice. 1 blue, draw 2 cards. Nice. I love the promo art. So nice. Kozilek, Butcher of Truth. Draw 4 cards. Prime Speaker Zagana, again, lets me draw cards. If I go infinite with Ancestral Statue, I can deck myself instantly with this, so I've considered adding Laboratory Maniac, but I think it's just, if I already have an infinite combo, then there's no point in running a combo that depends on that infinite combo. Maelstrom Wanderer, super good. If you run these colors, you should run this guy. Very powerful. Soul of Harvest. Also, if I'm going infinite with Ancestral Statue, lets me draw infinite cards. Xenagos, God of Revels, just because beats, gives haste. Super good. Pathbreaker Ibex. Very, very powerful. One of my favorite green creatures. If I have infinite counters on Animar, then everything else gets plus 1,000 in trample, so super useful. Scourge of the Throne, the only mono red creature in my entire deck. I run it because the extra combat can be fantastic. It's really just a come from behind kind of card. It lets you actually get there if you're struggling. It That Betrays. Some decks, like graveyard decks, just kind of crumble to It That Betrays. If you can resolve this and keep it around, you'll just kind of win. Teferi, Mage of Zephyr. He's very useful. The second ability is really why you run him, just to kind of slow your opponents down and make it so that they just can't instant win on someone else's turn. Solar Phyrexia. The indestructibility is useful. The fact that you can exile it from your graveyard is great. Super handy. Phyrexian Metamorph. Copies whatever I need. If I want 2 Consecrated Sphinx, I can have that. Also, super easy with Palinchron to go infinite with. Elvish Piper. Lets me just play creature cards for free, which if Animar dies or, I just want a nice discount, she's super useful. And Body Double. If I play, Consecrated Sphinx or Avenger of Zendikar and it gets killed, I can just play this and get another copy. And it doesn't even have to be in my graveyard. It can be in anyone's graveyard. So somebody plays something scary, it gets murdered, and then I can have it. All right, now moving on to my non-creature spells. Savala Stampede, extremely powerful in multiplayer EDH. Especially in this deck because the second ability is permanent, not just creature. Cloudstone Curio, combo piece. If you run... I only run a couple ways to go infinite in this deck, but you can run a whole bunch more with Cloudstone. That morphs Lightning Greaves, because haste and shroud, sometimes I gotta protect Animar. Chromatic Lantern, just for the fixing. This is a new card. I haven't got to cast it yet, but it's very powerful in my opinion. And I'm excited for it to save me someday. I run 2 Planeswalkers. I run Kiora, Master of Depths. The first ability is nice, but the second ability is really why I run her. Xenagos, the Reveler. His +1's useful, but his ultimate can just be game-winning in this deck. Sensei's Divining Top, super useful. Reality Shift. I don't have a lot of removal in my colors, so this is good because it exiles, and I don't really care too much about their 2/2. Cyclonic Rift. If you run blue, you should run Cyclonic Rift. It just ends games, it saves lives. It's fantastic. Crossing Grip. Because when someone plays an Omniscience with a Vidalcan Orrery out, you have to stop them right there, right now. Beast Within, one of my personal favorite cards. Super good. I run it in every green deck. It's just so versatile. Song of the Dryads. Now this is super good against really tough, pesky commanders that have overpowered abilities, that have a relatively cheap cost, so if they die, they can just be replayed. Keeps them from dying. Tutors. I run Worldly Tutor. Search for creature. Mystical Tutor. Search for whatever I need. If there's a Humility out, lets me search for my Crossing Grip so I can actually deal with it, because other than that, I just lose to Humility. Tooth and Nail. Super useful. Fantastic card. Birthing Pod lets me tutor through my deck, getting increasingly more expensive with each tutor. Green Sun Zenith. If you run green, you should probably run this. It's just so good. Chord of Calling. Also lets me tutor for everything except anything. And Survival of the Fittest. Fantastic card.